what I want to emphasize here is that, as I said, let's go back to my original sort of challenge to you. Come up with a way of moving that isn't falling or pushing. That isn't either passive or linear. And that is Chansijing. So, the difficulty I've found with my students is not in learning how to do it, but in learning how to stop doing the other stuff at the same time. Because there's no reason that you have to. Except your own discipline. You say, oh, I'm using Chansijing. Yeah, but I'm also falling. There's no reason you can't be using it and falling. And in fact, you actually do that when you're doing Sancho. Because you have to be able to take a big step like this. And right in the middle of the step, change from here. Because somebody, you can't have this committed step. Like even up to the last second, you should be able to make a change. And the change comes from the rooted leg. So that's why we take empty steps in the form. Like this. Not because we're training to fight people like this. Well, a lot of people think that's true. You know, I challenged someone about this one time and they said, oh, that's the right way to do it, but they're just not very good at it. That's why it looks bad. No. You're not supposed to take these unnatural steps. You know, a lot of the advanced exercises are simply to break you of that idea. You can't possibly do three-step hand pushing and do that. But when you start having to actually move your center like this, if you don't use the right way, the correct Chansijing, you will be leaning for that moment, or you will be violating it in some way at that moment. So there will be no way you can translate this into actual fight. You'll lose all the advantage you worked so hard to get. In other words, you've got to be able to uproot someone as you're coming forward. You can't lose that capacity just because you're coming forward. Stop and then like do it again. So this is why what we have is like what they call, we have two roots. There are two different definitions of root. The root that's talked about in the classics is the root that I'm talking about here, and it's called the root because it acts like a root on the floor that you can't move. It's like you want your boat to go somewhere, you throw out a line, and then you pull yourself in. That's what it's got to feel like when you're doing this. It's got to feel like this is something pulling you in this way. And then it doesn't violate your head top, it doesn't violate anything, and it means you can actually just be walking right into someone doing this, and at the same time receiving all of their force. Now why? Because movements that come from the Chansijing are completely horizontal. Think about it. That's all it's doing, and that's the reason for the old thing about everything being horizontal, everything staying on the one plane. Because you have to prove you could do that you weren't pushing and dumping, but that you kept everything on this plane. So, the whole skill that I'm teaching you with the fractal technique is to convert all force from the opponent into a completely vertical direction. So, those are two completely independent dimensions and directions. It means they don't interfere with each other. In other words, it means that when I move, I can't have any vertical component to the movement. I can follow the other opponent, the person, that's different. But I can't have any vertical component to what's making me move. It has to be completely at my will to follow them this way. So, and at the same time, like I said, I have to keep up the capacity to receive their force as I do it. But they shouldn't interfere. Because one is going all the way, everything is down, the other everything is horizontal. So they don't conflict with each other at all. If they conflicted, it would make it impossible to box. So that's why the correct technique has this weird kind of look to it, like this. It doesn't look like that. Because you're moving everything in this, from this very Chansijing kind of way. And that's why if you're walking on the street and somebody bumps into you, and as soon as this happens, you use your Chansijing in the legs to like turn the body, get out of the way. You know?
I have a question.
Yeah.
When we were turning our claw, when you said everything's horizontal, I got confused because when we were using the Chansijing, the spiraling energy to turn our claw, it felt like a vertical energy in my leg.
Well,
Like it was
it's the muscle sliding.
Huh? Yeah.
The muscles slide when they move. In other words, when they have this, you can sort of see it here. It's easier to see here than in your leg. You can see the muscles, as you twist, they slide. And they slide along the acupuncture canals, by the way. It's actually like, that's why this is super Neigong. To call it Qigong is a little begging the question in a way, because they're nego. It means you're moving chi everywhere. You're sliding these like acupuncture lines all over the place, and it's stimulating chi to move everywhere. You're not moving at one point around here. But, it's developed from Qigong, so it's called the highest form of Qigong. Yeah.
I had something that I heard that when the muscles wind like this, that it stimulates the bone growth. It's piezoelectric stimulation of the bone itself.
Oh, it does.
Gives you hard bones, which is right.
Yeah, well, the tradition of people who do Taiji is that they have very hard bones. Well, Chansijing used to play chess, and while he would play chess, he'd be sitting, he'd hold his arm out like this, and he had the students line up, and everybody would come over
Oh no.
and chop him on the arm. And he'd go, harder. Are you weak? Well, and really, I remember one guy going, like, can I stop? Like, this is killing me. He did this with a whole line of people. I don't know why. Anyway, it proved that his bones were really hard, I guess. So, yeah.
Maybe he needed a massage.
Well, I think he could have gotten that without going through that much trouble.